A teacher refused to release my son to me because I have burn scars. She stepped in front of the doorway the second she saw my face. My son was right there behind her, backpack on, ready to go, and she spread her arms across the frame like I was a threat she needed to contain. I held up my pickup card with my photo clearly visible, but she didn't even look at it. Her eyes stayed locked on the scars that covered the left side of my face and neck, the ones I got pulling my wife from a car fire 6 years ago, the scars that made strangers cross the street, the scars that made this woman decide I wasn't fit to pick up my own child. She told me to step back and wait while she confirmed my identity. I explained that I was on the approved pickup list and showed her the card again. She glanced at it for half a second before shaking her head. The photo doesn't match, she said. That could be anyone. My son called out to me from behind her and tried to push past, but she put her hand on his shoulder and pulled him back. I watched my 6-year-old's face crumple with confusion as this woman he trusted refused to let him go to his father. I kept my voice calm and asked her to call the front office. They had my information on file. They could verify everything in 30 seconds. Instead, she pulled out her phone and dialed security. I need someone at room 114 immediately, she said. There's a man here claiming to be a parent, but I don't feel safe releasing this child to him. She looked at me while she spoke. Her lip curled slightly like she was describing something dangerous. My son started crying and asking why he couldn't go with his daddy. She crouched down and told him that sometimes bad people try to trick kids by pretending to be their family. She said this while looking directly at me. I felt my hands start to shake, not from anger, but from the realization that she genuinely believed she was protecting my child from me. Security arrived within 2 minutes. A large man in a uniform asked what was going on, and the teacher immediately started talking over me. She said I was aggressive. She said my identification looked suspicious. She said the scars on my face made her concerned about what kind of person would have injuries like that. The security guard looked at me with new suspicion in his eyes. I pulled out my phone and opened the school's parent portal app, showing them the screen with my photo, my son's enrollment information, and my emergency contact status. The teacher laughed and said anyone could fake an app. She told the security guard that people like me shouldn't be around children, that whatever happened to my face was probably deserved. The security guard called the principal, who called the police. I stood there for 20 minutes while my son sobbed in the doorway, and this woman told anyone who would listen that she was preventing a potential abduction. Other parents started gathering, and I could hear her explaining that she'd caught a suspicious man with a disfigured face trying to take a child. Some of them were nodding, some of them were looking at me like I was exactly what she described. The police arrived and asked for my identification. I handed them my driver's license, my pickup card, and my phone with the parent portal open. One officer went inside to verify with the office, while the other stayed with me. The teacher followed the first officer, still talking about how she knew something was wrong the moment she saw me. The officer came back out 4 minutes later with the principal beside him. His expression had completely changed. He looked at the teacher and asked if she had verified my identity through any of the school's standard protocols before calling security. She stammered that she didn't need to because she could tell something was off. The principal pulled up the security camera footage on his tablet and showed the officer exactly what had happened. Me approaching calmly with my pickup card extended, her blocking the door before I even spoke, her pulling my crying son away from me, her making the phone call while I stood there holding valid identification. The officer turned to the teacher and asked if she refused to release the child based solely on this man's appearance. She said she was protecting the student from someone who clearly had a violent history. The officer informed her that discriminating against a parent based on physical appearance and making false statements to law enforcement were both serious matters. The principal told her she was suspended immediately pending a full investigation. She started crying and saying she was just trying to keep the children safe. My son broke away from the doorway and ran to me, wrapping his arms around my legs so tight I could barely move. I picked him up and held him against my chest while the officer took the teacher's statement. She kept insisting she did nothing wrong, that anyone would have done the same thing if they saw someone who looked like me. The school district fired her 3 weeks later after 12 other parents came forward with complaints about her treatment of their children. My wife's medical records from the accident were subpoenaed during the investigation, documenting exactly how I got my scars. The teacher's lawyer tried to argue she was acting in good faith, but the security footage showed her laughing while she